First and Now, the official BC Lions podcast, is back. Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski, broadcasting inside the Wall Center on Burrard Street. We're in the Go-Goat Sports Studios, as per usual. 7-1, never felt so good. Nick, is your head stopped spinning yet from that? First of all, the game, and then the post-game fun was fun, too.
Yeah.
What a night in Calgary.
Yeah, I'm trying to apply the 24-hour rule to this, but it was a blast in Calgary. I mean, there was from what I saw on the sideline, there was never a doubt. I didn't have any doubt. I mean, with Nathan Rourke, you're always still alive in a football game, and it was a perfect ending to that game.
Yeah, you're right. It's we're on to Saskatchewan,
Yes.
as Bill Belichick would say. But the good news is we're not playing, we're not coaching, so we can talk about it a bit here on this podcast, barely, not even 48 hours after kickoff, recording this on a Monday afternoon. But yeah, almost kind of a similar script to the first trip to Saskatchewan, although this time it was a bit of a deeper hole the team crawled into. 20-3 in the first half. Really, 2 interceptions were the difference in that first half. One that went for a pick six, another led to Calgary's first touchdown of the game. And, right away you're starting to think, okay, all right, maybe it is a problem rising to the occasion against these other Western Division heavyweights. But they just dug in, got it to within 12 at the half, and set themselves up for an amazing fourth quarter. Brian Burnham celebrating his 100th career game in style. 8 catches, 165, and a touchdown. That touchdown, one of 2 key third down conversions. Gutsy play call by Jordan Maximic. He gets another 3rd and 9 catch to lead to Nathan Rourke's rushing touchdown. Later on, the defense gets a big stop, gives them another chance. They're backed up to their own 10, but they find a way. Every time you think this Nathan Rourke bubble may burst a little bit at some point, he just kind of comes out and does the unthinkable. 246 of his 488 in the fourth quarter. He once again breaks his own Canadian record. And man, oh man, that was some fun times.
It's a little bit of a shame that he was 496 for total yards. It's a little bit of a shame that he didn't get to that 500 mark, but I know that's something that is the least of his worries. But yeah, those third down plays, that's what stood out to me. Both incredible. From my vantage point on that first one, I didn't know it was a full 2. I thought it was about like 1 or even fewer than 1. I was ready for I had a tight shot, and I was getting ready to have Nathan dive up the middle or do his outside run that he's almost perfected at this point. But no,
bootleg.
But yeah, he goes deep, and he hits Brian for a touchdown that puts us right back in there. And then obviously the kickoff gets returned back, and it's almost like, all that work was done for nothing. But the offense, nobody got rattled. The defense got a huge stop at the end. The offense picked it up when it really mattered at the end there. That 3rd and 9 play to Brian, double coverage. He's not open. There's no window, and the 12 and 16 just find a way to get it done.
And we posted that clip you got of the catch, and Calgary's PA announcer, who I love listening to when we go there, by the way, Dan Carson, longtime broadcaster in Calgary, does the McMahon Stadium play-by-play. Just his call on that was, Brian Burnham got that, and that was it.
Yeah, and you can just hear almost like disgust over he did it again.
Yeah. More like disbelief, yes. And back to Burnham, 8 catches on 9 targets. The one he didn't get was a pretty bad drop, something you're not used to seeing from him.
In the third quarter, yeah.
And at that point, you're kind of thinking, okay, maybe it's just not happening. Maybe they're going to run out of magic here. But he comes off the field as they're going out to punt, and Rick Campbell goes up to him and kind of just gives him some words of encouragement. And I kind of took note of that. I thought, okay, remember that one here maybe for down the stretch, and sure enough, he redeems himself and then some. 7-1, gaining ground on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. We're going to go around the league before we're out of here, but all of a sudden, we talk about big swing games. So you move 4 points clear of Calgary for second in the West, also get a leg up on the tiebreaker. Road wins in Saskatchewan and Calgary already. The season series clinched against Edmonton. Major currency locked up here in the first half. There's still lots to do, still some things to clean up. We can probably talk about special teams, but maybe we won't dwell on the negatives right now. But they've set themselves up nicely here.
Very nice, yeah, and we finally got some help too, and from an Eastern opponent in Montreal defeating Winnipeg. But yeah, like, I mean, you win this game on Friday, you're 8-1, and you're 2 points behind Winnipeg in the standings for first place. Many thought that West final game could be out of reach already at this point in the season,
Right.
but it's still up for grabs at this point.
Yeah, and a win, well, a split in this home and home with the Riders, and you win the season series there too, right?
Which is huge,
So,
yeah.
I was texting with a buddy of mine after the first Saskatchewan win. He's like, "Well, we gotta go 5-1 in these games against Saskatchewan and Calgary." And you know what? I think 4-2 might do it. So 2 road wins out of the way. So don't want to settle for anything, but you go 2-2 in these remaining 4 against those teams, and you're still in good shape. You want to aim for higher now that you've started with the 2 wins. So. Yeah, good times, a good win. The post-game locker room, we encourage you to head to bclions.com, all of our social channels. You clutching up again, Nick, with the All Access. Brian Burnham was quite emotional. We talked about it. 100th game. He's just coming off his injuries as well. Maybe felt he wasn't totally in the groove yet. But it's a fun group to be around, and I was lucky to be next to Dominique Rhymes and his Bluetooth speakers, so I got a full dose of those post-game flight tunes. Thankfully, it was just an hour and change to get home, but definitely some good vibes in this organization right now.
100%, and they earned that right to celebrate. And it was a very Brian was emotional at times, but it was a very happy locker room. I mean, they were happy for Brian, 100th game, all with catches too, which is another kind of remarkable feat in his legendary career. But I mean, I know this team too. That 24-hour rule, they apply it, so they got all the celebrating out of the way, and now they're on to Regina too, and they know that. I mean, they saw it firsthand last time in that first half. You go down against Regina, like they're no easy opponent, and they got to make sure they're playing that full 60. And I'm sure when they start practicing tomorrow, they'll be ready for the task at hand.
Lions Rough Riders, 7 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock local. Have some time to prepare for that game Friday. Thank God for those late hotel checkouts on the road. But we're going to talk to Sean Whyte, a Lions place kicker, returning to the podcast. We had him on one of the early episodes you and I started doing together. He was the off season. It was before camp. But Sean Whyte, it's weird to say almost lost in it because of all these performances, but he kicks the winning field goal with 2 seconds left, and that's why they brought him here, to make those clutch kicks. Yep. He's made all but 2 attempts through 8 games this season, so Sean Whyte, we're going to have some fun with him. It won't all be football. We're going to ask him about his passion for golf, of course, pursuing the firefighting career. Might be something to talk about with The Bachelor as well.
Perhaps, yeah.
Sean Whyte, one of the good guys on this Lions team.
Very genuine guy, yeah. And I mean, on Thursday nights, I was watching that Winnipeg-Montreal game. My first thought when that game ended was, I am so happy that we have Sean Whyte as our kicker on this team, because when he went out there for that 25-yarder to win the game, there was no doubt in that either. You knew it was going right down the middle. He's cool under pressure. Has hit those kicks before. I mean, we talked to him last time we had him on about that 53-yarder, I want to say, in Winnipeg that he hit in 2015, where he said he rejuvenated his career with that. So he's one of the most clutch kickers around, and it's a pleasure to have him on as kicking on our team, but also just the guy too. He's a fun and really genuine guy.
Lions place kicker Sean Whyte coming up on First and Now. And we head to lovely White Rock, we assume. Sean Whyte down there in South Surrey, a product of the Surrey Rams. Or was it the Big Kahuna Rams when you were there, Sean?
In 2004, we were the Surrey Rams.
Okay.
2007, we were the Big Kahuna Rams.
There you go. And now they're the Langley Rams, of course, reigning Canadian junior champions, the Canadian Bowl. So that must have made you proud as an alum of the program to see them win it all.
Yeah, definitely. It's always good to see a program you come from succeed. And, this year being back home, hopefully I can start going out and working with them and giving back to that team.
Very good to hear. We have you on after one of your more impressive outings, as we say, a 25-yard field goal to win it in Calgary Saturday. What's going through your mind when you're trotting out there when the game's on the line and you need to make it? No pressure at all, right?
Well, to be honest, Mackie had a game at Morgan Creek lined up for yesterday, so I just wanted to play good so I could go and have a day off and swing the club freely. And when Lucky Whyte had made that catch at the end there to put me real nice and close, I was just like, yes, it's going to be a good day of golf tomorrow. So I felt pretty confident with that one. It was nice and short and on the left hash, just the way I like it. So I was pretty confident going into it.
Nick Kowalski here is going to ask you some more golf questions in just a couple of minutes, because I know that's one of your favorite off-field activities. But I think it's an example of how much of a bond there is with this team at all positions, right? You mentioned Mackey, fullbacks and kickers and linemen playing golf together, but how special is the bond with this team, Sean, and how is it compared to other good ones you've been on?
Well, I think I said it to you before, Matt, when we first started talking when I signed my contract. And it's just the feeling I've had with this team as soon as I got here. And they're a tight crew, and everyone's got each other's backs, and everyone's got one goal in mind, and that's to win a Grey Cup. But to do that, you got to go game by game. And these guys, it's day in, day out with these guys. They ball out every single day, and they compete against each other. They're flying around 100%. There's no one complaining. Everyone's just out there having fun, and at the same time, like, critiquing each other and teaching each other and how to get better. And they're always talking about football. It's just doing the little things, right? We call it the lonely work, that off-field stuff that nobody sees. They're all staying out extra. It's just there's not one guy out there slacking, and if anything, it's pushing an old guy like me to be better and more focused as well. But I've said it from the very beginning that this team is special, and these guys continue to show it.
Then Sean, on that last drive there, I mean, Nathan starts at about his own 10-yard line. I mean, I'm assuming you had zero doubt that he was going to put you in some pretty good range for that game winner.
I was hoping they would punt it and give me an opportunity. I knew if they punted the ball, I was going to get an opportunity to get a field goal. Going in that direction, I was going against a wind, so I was hoping they'd get it close like they did. But I was getting ready almost right away. As soon as we got the ball, I was warming up because I knew it was gonna come down to me in a kick.
Is there anything like you mentally or even physically prepare for in terms of, it was a close game in the fourth quarter, and I imagine it crosses your mind that a potential game winner is going to be on the table? But is there anything like mentally or physically that changes in your preparation for that?
Uh, I always feel when there's pressure on the game and everything slows down in my head. I guess it's just all the stress and the pressure is all bearing down on you. But it seems for me, like, things slow down and I really focus, and I almost get tunnel vision where I don't see or hear anything else other than just me and the ball. And then when I go out to kick the ball, it's just me, Tanner, and Flint, just like we do on practice field. That's all I try to think about. I don't try to think about a rush of the other team or what they're going to do. I just think about what I have to do. And I can only do that with a good team around me, and a great procedure in front of me with Tanner and Flint. They have just been so good. They make my job so easy, and I don't have to worry about a bad snap or a bad hold because it's usually always perfect with those guys. So I can really bear down and focus on myself.
Mm-hmm. Did you get to do the handshake with Flint after that one, or did Boom pick you up too quick?
No, we got it off. I felt the ground shaking as about a bunch of big bodies started rolling my way. So I looked over, and that's when I saw Boom pick me up. And he's got to understand I'm only like 5 feet tall, and he's like 10 feet tall. So that's like a 2-story drop for me. And I thought both my ankles were about to explode, but it was a lot of fun though. It's great to be a part of something like that. That was a special game.
For sure, yeah. And it was a hot game too. Is that something you enjoy about playing football in the hotter weather, or do you like it a little cooler?
I compared kicking to golf. So when you're out in the warmer weather, the ball flies better. You can get more. Obviously, when it gets colder, the ball doesn't want to fly as good. So I want that. I want as hot as possible, but no wind. I don't like wind.
Yes, no kicker does. And we were kind of joking about that on the practice field last week, Sean, where it was like, oh yeah, the weather forecast is like here, maybe up to 30, 32 degrees. Yeah, but it's always windy there. But thankfully the conditions were to our favor. Back to the fun stuff here, though. We talked a little bit about golf. It's safe to say you're the best golfer on the team, right? Because I think Mackey thinks he is, but let's settle that here now that Mackey's not here.
Well, I beat him the last 2 rounds in a row, and I don't think he's beaten me yet, so I don't know how he could be the best. Flint's a good golfer; he's capable. I'd say the top three is me, Flint, and Mackey. But we got a lot of golf to go this year. We got a good group of guys going out and golfing. We got a team tournament that Mackey's arranged, and that's going to be a lot of fun. We have captains. We're even picking teams, and again, that's what makes this team so special. We get out and do these things together, and there's no clickiness on this team. It's everybody's got each other's backs, and everybody loves each other. It's awesome.
Yeah, I heard there was a player staff tournament. I didn't get any invites yet though, so I'll just I'll keep checking my old inbox for that. But got to have some fun with it. Worst golfer on the team that you've seen?
The worst.
Yeah.
Lucius Purifoy came out the other day, and on hole number 2 at Guilford, he almost broke a few windows. That's for sure. But he's learning though. He likes the game. I know Lucky's been out there. He's not that great, but he'll make one shot and just I'm hooked now. I love this. Boom loves golf. Not very good, but he's practicing his butt off to get better. So it's funny because they compete so hard with football, and you put a club in their hands. Now they're competing very hard at that as well. So it's very funny to watch.
I was gonna say Luchez was doing the old Happy Gilmore, was he?
Man, it's worse than that. It's pretty bad.
We have to get out there and film around now, definitely, to hear something. And I saw Lucky Whitehead. He had a bit of an awkward swinging motion, but he hit it pretty good. The clip I saw.
Oh, really? Yeah, I haven't seen Lucky play yet, so
okay.
We'll everyone will be exposed at that team tournament. Should be fun.
Have you played with Moj yet?
Yeah, we played yesterday.
Okay.
I also Moj is someone I've known a lot of my life. Really, he was friends with my brother, so I've got to know Moj very well. So yeah, we golfed yesterday. I was in a different group, but again, I beat everyone, so I'm still the best.
And there's some Twitter footage you can find of Moj tossing his clubs into the pond.
Oh, no way.
I'll send it to you. It's legendary stuff.
Yeah.
Just legendary stuff.
We got to get that up for sure.
Have to love it. We love the Moj. Calls a pretty good game, too. He was getting pretty excited at a lot of those comeback plays there in Calgary. So,
they had a good video of them calling that last kick. It was it's fun. I thought they weren't supposed to be biased, but you can definitely see that they're on the BC Lions side. And another good friend of mine is Dustin Nielsen. We played hockey together in Edmonton when I was there, and now he's play calling for TSN. So that's pretty cool to hear my buddy, a friend of mine, calling the game. It's made it a lot of fun to watch.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, Dustin has had a front row seat to a few of our exciting victories this season. Small world indeed. Anyway, flashback to a couple of weeks. I had the honor of leading a Q&A session with McCallum and Jovan Olafioye at the Wall of Fame induction. How cool is it for you to see a guy like Paul get honored by the club like that?
It's really cool. You know, I backed up Paul for 4 years, and basically I was just a junior guy being developed. And I've said to you before, I think in conversation that Wally said, he goes, as long as we have Paul, you're not playing. So my role was just to get better and literally just watch Paul, man, and just see what he does and try to pick up little tricks here and there of what he does. But he is a very good athlete. People don't recognize that. He's very good at most sports, and it's kind of annoying actually. But he would go into training camp, and I'd be like, "Did you kick it all this off season?" Once or twice, and then he goes out and just doesn't miss, and it's just so frustrating because I worked my butt off all off season. I'm missing everything. So he is a very good kicker. I learned so much from the guy, and I still a lot of the beliefs that I use to go into kicking is all from Paul. So, you know, he deserves all the success that he has gotten, and that accomplishment of being on the Wall of Honor and all that stuff is it's really awesome for him. He definitely deserves it. He's, in my opinion, the best kicker to ever play.
And then another great moment from another legendary BC Lion this past game, Brian Burnham, 100 games in the CFL now, couple of clutch third down catches. I mean, from your vantage point, like, is there anything this guy can't do?
Oh, it's sickening. It's not even just all the receivers, what they're doing. It's just Rourke is just the whole team, but He is. I told Burnham, like, when I joined this team, I've never really met Brian before, so you watch him from the other and playing on other teams, and I'm like, man, that guy must have a chip on his shoulder or something. He must be a jerk or something. But then I meet him, and he's literally the nicest guy on the planet, and he's so much fun to play with, and he brings that joy to his game, and I think that's why he plays so well. He loves the game, and he loves this team so much, and he'll give everything you have. He'll give everything he has for us, and it's pretty awesome to see. But those catches he caught up the middle in traffic was just unbelievable. Plus, it was great because I would have had a 50-yard field goal or something. Now he cuts it down to a 38 or a shorter one. So those
Yeah.
guys are bailing me out so much. It's so awesome, but it's a lot of fun to watch. I also tell Burnham before every game, "You're my favorite player." So it's cool to get front row seats and watch the best players play.
And I asked you, or I mentioned the handshake you have with Flint after, but I know Brian has a lot of superstitions or rituals with players too. But the one that you have with Flint, is that something you guys just randomly kind of came up with, or what's the handshake all about?
I don't even know what we have. I've just always done the handshake because it was back in my career as one of my teammates wanted to do a golf swing. And then by doing that, there was a coach on another team that didn't like it very much and didn't like that a kicker would celebrate. So I'm like, all right, fine. I'm just going to do gentleman handshakes to everybody from now on. So everyone wants a handshake now. It's funny when I make a longer field goal, it's like almost half the guys on the team are coming out to give me a handshake. It takes me an hour to get off the field. But me and Flint, we get so many reps in practice, and we got to hit a field goal, move to another spot. So it's just a quick. We don't even shut hands anymore. We just a quick one, and then move to the next spot. And so it's kind of grown to that now. And you got to have something special with your holder because you got to have that chemistry with them and have something fun to do. And Flint is a great guy, and he makes the game fun for me out there. And he's got a lot of good kicking knowledge as well. So his beliefs, and we even talk golf. Like when I line up a kick, I'm like, what club should I use? And he's a great guy to work with, and it's a lot of fun.
He even got credit for a punt return there on Saturday at the
Oh
end.
yeah, did he get -2 return on that or?
I think they gave him 0. Yeah. Fun fact about that game, actually, I brought this up to you, Baker, but William Longley, after he was the guy on Calgary who punted that ball back to Flint, but he leads the CFL in punting now with a 50-yard average
Yeah.
off that one punt. Yeah. Yeah. So a little
That's hilarious.
quirky CFL stat. I mean, so another reason I know that you wanted to come back home to the BC Lions this season was to set up your career after football with firefighting down in White Rock. I mean, where are you at with that whole process right now?
Right now, I'm a paid on call auxiliary firefighter for the White Rock Fire Department. So basically, uh, we have a career staff there uh, on Engine One. I am Engine Two. I'm on that truck. So if they were to go out to a major call and they're going to be gone for a while, or maybe they need backup, my phone has a pager on it. That will go off, and I'm 3 minutes from the hall from my house here in White Rock, and I basically just grip it and rip it to the hall. And there's 22 auxiliary firefighters, and obviously we all have work and lives. So you just answer. If you can get to the call, you get to the call, and obviously we all want to make calls and get experience, and it's been phenomenal. We train every Tuesday night. It's kind of mandatory, uh, and they're teaching us some good stuff. And like a lot of people, they don't get that experience as a firefighter. They just do the courses and then hope to get hired. Where I did my courses. Now I'm a paid on call firefighter for White Rock. I'm answering calls. I'm doing medical calls and all these things. I'm basically a firefighter. I can't say that because I'm not a career firefighter, but basically a firefighter. But it's just great experience that I'm getting that I think will give me a big head start on a lot of people when I'm going through a process to get hired by a career department.
I mean, yeah, you're hitting game winners. You're back home with your dog. You got your dog Tucker. You're
Yeah.
setting up your career after football. Life's pretty good, hey?
Honestly, man, I've always loved my life and everything, but things always happen and never go your way. But my whole plan was to get home, play for the Lions, my home team, and try to do whatever I can to start with firefighting. And honestly, there's no other place I would want to be than White Rock, my hometown. So everything's going really, really good right now. Knock on wood. Uh, it's just strange to me how great everything really is going right now for me.
Yep, and only one thing could put the icing on the cake, and that is a serious run at the Grey Cup. Hey, we're going to have some fun before we let you go. What is this about The Bachelor, Sean? You were asked to go on The Bachelor. Can you fill us in on that or no?
Sure. Mitch Berger, the punter, punted in the NFL for years.
Good North Delta boy, yep.
Yeah, he's a good guy, and he's one of my good friends. And he has a Christmas party every year, and I went to that, and he was on Millionaire Matchmaker, and he had a TV agent. So I ran into his TV agent at his Christmas party that he has. So after that, but months go by, I get a weird message on my phone. It's like, "Hello, is this Sean? Please confirm." It's just a text message, so I'm not answering that. It's a weird one. Then eventually they said, "Well, this is Mitch's friend, or I'm his agent. I have something you may or may not be interested in." So I text her back, and I'm, "Well, what is it?" And she goes, "Well, I was talking to the producers of Bachelor Canada. Would that be something you're into?" And I basically went LOL across the whole screen. I said, "Yeah, right." I'm like, "I hate the show. I hate the people in the show. I'm not dramatic. I have a good family, so I'm not going to be making out with chicks and in front of my mom while she's watching. That's weird." So, but then she explained, it could open doors for me in my future and all those things. And I'm like, "Well, I don't believe in falling in love in 2 months." And she just said, "You can fake it, basically." And and again, it could open doors. So I'm like, "Okay, well, what do I have to do?" And she goes, "Okay, go home right now. You're going to do a Skype interview with the Western headhunter or whatever they are." I'm like, "Okay." So I went home, had her on FaceTime. She picked up my clothes from my closet. I did a Skype interview. And at the end of it, I said just exactly what I said. I'm like, "I'm probably not the guy you want on the show because I'm not going to be dramatic. I have a good family. I'm not going to be doing these things on camera." And they're like, "We love that. That's awesome. That's such a great switch up. I'm going to put you in with the front runners." And I'm like, "Oh my God, this is actually happening." And she's like, "We'll let you know in 3 weeks." So 3 weeks go by, and I messaged the agent, and she said, "I don't want to jinx it, Sean, but it's really close. I'll let you know tomorrow." And then the next day she calls me. She's like, "You wouldn't believe it, but it was between you and another guy. But was it Brady's? What was his name? The guy from
Don't
Brady
ask
Smith,
us.
like that, whatever his name is. Brad Smith. Is that his name?
We'll
He
take
was
care
the
of you.
first.
We don't watch that show, so
Yeah, right. I sure you don't.
I cross
Anyways,
my heart. Yeah.
he was the CFL guy, I guess they want to say, and he was the first Bachelor Canada. So they said they didn't want to make it a football thing, so they went with the other guy. But it was really funny because I would walk upstairs, my mom would be all nervous, and I'm like, "What's wrong with you?" And she's like, "I'm just worried you're going to get the gig." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Oh, well, I don't want to watch my son make out with girls in hot tubs." It was so funny. And then my dad would yell at her from a distance, "You got to let him do it."
Of
So,
course.
but, part of me was a little disappointed, but I think most of me was really relieved that I didn't do it. That's just not really my style. And it would have been fun, would have definitely changed my life, but I think everything's going better than expected
You
right
could have
now.
been another Jesse Palmer. Come on.
Yeah, I don't have the hairline for that.
No, nor the jawline. Oh, that's a great story, though. At least you have that story to tell for the rest of your life and the rest of your great career. Listen, Sean, congratulations on your game winner. Keep those guys in line on the golf course again. I will await my invitation for Saturday. And you're always welcome here on First and Now, so we appreciate it very much.
Thank you for having me. I'll come back anytime.
Always great talking with Sean Whyte. Brought him here to be a late game clutch performer, and he did just that in Calgary on Saturday. 41-40. If you took the over in that one, you were probably a very happy person. I did not, because full disclosure, we don't gamble on CFL results, but good to get Sean Whyte involved with some late game heroics.
As well. And he's viewed as, if you ask the guys in the locker room, he's viewed as the best golfer on this team too. So
just ask him.
Yeah.
Yep. We hit on it. Just ask him. So, Whitey, where's number 10, by the way, in honor of Pavel Bure, his favorite Canuck of all time? We got into that last time we had him on the podcast. But the Lions get it done like we've been talking about. A quick recap of Week 10 in the CFL. Winnipeg, Montreal on the Thursday, and you and I were texting back and forth when it looked like Winnipeg was going to be opportunistic and pull one out of their collective you-know-what's-what again, and saying, we're going to need this Winnipeg team to start losing if we want any chance of hosting the Western Final. A lot of weeks to go before the playoffs, but it's never too early for us to talk about possible positioning and standings. And boy, oh boy, Mark Leggio, 2 chances to win it. One at the end, he kind of just scuffs at it. And then Montreal doesn't gain a single yard in overtime, but they get their field goal attempt good, and then Leggio hits the upright with a chance to extend it.
That kick in the fourth quarter where it barely gets into the end zone, it's a worst case scenario. You could have just got a rouge there and won the game, right? Too. So it was just shocking how that game ended. Unfortunate for the Bombers, but yeah, the mighty have fallen at least once this season. So the undefeated season is no longer. But I mean, Montreal played a good game. They played hard. They got that turnover late, which is something that
the Caleros fumble, huge
in the fourth quarter. And I was thinking,
turning point.
Even in our game, going back to the Calgary game, I was on the sideline thinking, like, we just need that one big play on defense. We need a turnover, like something to stop this Calgary attack. And it was unsung hero Nathan Cherry forcing that ball out for a fumble recovery by Ben Paladek too. And
just need a play.
And that resulted in 3 points. And obviously a lot happened after, but I thought that was just massive. And it was one of the only turnovers in the game, if I'm not mistaken, too.
Yeah. So, the Lions unable to get any sacks, but they get the fumble recovery and make the stop when they need it. But Montreal at Winnipeg. That's why they play the games, right?
Yeah.
Did the Alouettes build off this now? We shall soon see. Hamilton, Toronto went down on Friday night, so we were out at the keg, kind of monitoring it on the big screen, and had to go back and watch some of the key moments of this one. This one had it all. A bunch of penalties on both sides. The Ticats end up getting a 34-27 win. That's a big win for them. Had they dropped back-to-back to Toronto in that Eastern Division situation, who knows if there's any recovering from that. But the turning point here, Ryan Dinwiddie electing to go conservative, a third and very short, but they kick it away, allow the big punt return there, but it gets called back for an illegal block. Still, though, field position. Hamilton still gets the ball at their own 50, I think it was, and it ends up leading to the winning points. Opportunity lost for Toronto.
Yeah, and the big thing for the Ticats there was they got it done in the fourth quarter. It's something they've struggled in for the majority of this season, and Matthew Schultz came back into that game after getting banged up. He was starting in relief of Dane Evans, too, in that game. So they had Jamie Newman, their third stringer at the time. He was in the game for a bit there, too, and more of a rusher is Newman. But, I mean, Schultz, he stepped up in that fourth quarter. Tim Whyte caught that touchdown that you mentioned in the fourth quarter there. Really nice catch. It was a contested catch, too, but the Ticats, they really turned it up in the fourth quarter. And just based off those two Ticats Argos games that we've just seen, I think it's kind of evident that Hamilton is the best team in the East Division, at least right now, just based off what you've seen. They may have troubles closing out games, but if they found a way on Friday, and that's kind of what's been missing from this team.
Yeah, they're in the midst of 4 meetings in 5 weeks. Again, don't love that scheduling, but I think this is the East Final again.
Yeah, I agree too.
Haven't seen enough consistency. I know we've praised Montreal for gutting it out in Winnipeg, and Ottawa, there's some issues there, clearly. But I think it's the East Final again. It's just a matter of how these final 2 meetings go. This Labor Day back-to-back, I think it is, coming up. Whoever wins those games is going to have a leg up on first place. It's just a matter of where the game is played, Tim Hortons Field or BMO. And I'm fine with that. I love those rivalry games when they get extended into the playoffs. So the Ticats keeping pace, gaining ground, and there's a couple other interesting games this week to talk about, but this one will be short. Saskatchewan, Edmonton, we just simply didn't watch this one because we were getting ready to go fly home. We talked about it last week. I had a hunch the Elks were going to get that home win, and I think I was wrong. So Saskatchewan, Cody Fajardo, he's getting healthier now. It appears he has his confidence back, and he helped will the Lions, or the Riders, our next opponent, into a win at Commonwealth.
Yeah, really interesting stat, too, that neither quarterback passed for over 210 yards, but they were each their team's leading rusher. So they found a way to move the ball if it wasn't going through the air. And all-time celebration too. If you saw the Duke Williams celebration in
the sitting back in the chair there and eating nachos,
yep,
was it? Or
he physically did eat a nacho after scoring a touchdown, which was that's an all-timer for me.
What is it? That's the same end zone at Commonwealth 2016. Manny Arsenault scored there. My first year with the team. Manny scores a touchdown and then he takes a girl's drink and pretends to drink. He didn't actually drink.
Yeah.
He didn't do the John Gott chugging the beer, but. That was kind of cool. Didn't actually drink the drink, but same end zone.
Calgary did the same thing there this year too. They had a late touchdown against the Elks, and they went into that lounge in the end zone as well. So yeah,
Why
something
not?
about it.
Something about it. So who's gonna do something when we go there in October? Lucky Rhymes, one of those guys.
I'm sure they have plans.
Rhymes, by the way, on the plane told me our next home game he has something planned when he scores. I won't spoil it, but. Look out for it. Be prepared with your camera.
I don't even know what you're talking about. So
be prepared with your camera. That's all I'm going to
am.
say. So Saskatchewan 5-4. So 7-1 Lions, 5-4 Riders. You just do the math, and plenty more at stake when we're at Mosaic Stadium here on Friday night. Week 11 in the CFL will get underway on Friday. We're the second game of a doubleheader. We have Edmonton and Ottawa 4:00.
Yeah.
Clash of the Titans, right?
Well, the Elks are undefeated out east this year. They're 2-0. Got wins over Hamilton and Montreal.
That's 2 comeback wins, yeah. Unlikely.
So see if they can keep that up.
And this is the one, if Edmonton truly believes they're alive for a possible crossover spot, this is one you have to have. You have to keep beating these Eastern teams to give yourself a chance. You also have to make hay against Saskatchewan and Calgary, those teams. I know Edmonton will get Calgary a couple times at Labor Day too. So, yeah, Ottawa, can they bounce back? They get that win in Toronto, and you think maybe this is the start of something big here, but unable to capitalize off that. So we'll be watching that one probably as much as we can, maybe on the monitor before we take to the field. A doubleheader Saturday. The Tiger Cats, speaking of them, will be home to Montreal. And then it's Toronto hosting Calgary. Dave Dickinson and the Stampeders usually pretty good off a loss. So nice little doubleheader on the Saturday.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Hamilton game especially. That's Matthew Schultz looks like to be in line to go up against his old squad. So I'm sure he's going to be excited for that one. But I want to see Hamilton keep up that momentum that they built on the weekend. And Montreal obviously has a ton of momentum too with Trevor Harris under center right now getting that huge win in Winnipeg. But should be a good one too. It's the second meeting this season. Hamilton got them earlier a couple weeks ago, but and then Toronto Calgary.
Hamilton got them at home 2 weeks ago. You're right.
And they beat them. Yeah, but Toronto Calgary too. Toronto's a team that like the Calgary of the East, right, where they have all these Stampeders players on their roster. So that should be another good one too. And
Deveris Daniels had himself a good game there in Hamilton.
Yeah, their secondary though too. Deshaun Amos, Royce Metchie in the secondary, former Stampeder. Shaq Richardson, who's injured right now for them too, another former Stampeder, but.
Jawan Breskeson, Stampeder of a few years ago.
Going, but Eric Rogers is banged up for them too. So, I mean, the Argos, like they had Cam Phillips go down again at receiver. Andrew Harris got hurt too, so they're kind of hurting right now too. But I mean, they're going to be a tough out though. So I'm excited for that one too. It should be a close one.
Yeah, Toronto back to 500 after that loss to the Tiger Cats. And yeah, best of luck to Andrew Harris. We wish it's nothing serious. Was expected to have an MRI for a possible pec injury. So. Such a warrior he's been for Toronto, and that big win they had in Saskatchewan last month, he kind of went for like 118 yards, I think, something like that.
I think it was close to 200 total.
Was it that? Yeah.
Total, yeah.
So, yeah, that was kind of one of the good stories of the league for me, seeing him still perform despite not being worthy of being re-signed by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So, lots of storylines with all these games, and we will talk more about them next week on First and Now. Lions and Rough Riders. It's a big one. Second trip to Saskatchewan in 4 weeks. Love it, Nick.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Love these summer prairie games. So we're on Twitter at First and Now. I'm at BakesTakes84. Nick Kowalski is at Nick_Kowalski. No C, just a K. And we thank you for listening on whatever your podcast platform of choice is. We're inside the Go-Goat Sports Studios at the Wall Center. And you can get all our episodes, download, listen, rate, and review. We always love bringing you the content on First and Now. Until next week, so long for now.